This is a comically large USB stick, is what I would say if that were based on anything other than basic appearance. This is an ASUS Chromebit. Yes, Chromebit. Despite my strong beliefs that Chromebooks existing in the first place is a blatant abuse of PC hardware use, this thing seems to be none of that. It's completely unique. Nothing like it has been made before or since. The closest things being the Intel Compute Stick that went from like 2013 to 2017, which were of course a bit more powerful and ran Windows, of course, subsidized by Bing. This little thing has a Rockchip SoC in it, kind of like a smartphone. Even the compute sticks had atoms in them. This does not. It's a quark. No, that doesn't work. So this is basically an HDMI computer on a stick. HDMI under a cap on one end. I don't know where the cap went, but I didn't get one when it was sold to me. I got it for a pretty good price. And actually at the time of me typing the script, I didn't know what was on the other side. It's actually a USB port. I think it might be USB 2, but I'm not sure. I don't think it's 3.0, but I guess we'll check later. Power? Oh, yeah, that's right, power. So of course, this thing isn't powered through HDMI, so how does it get power? Well, that's kind of a crappy topic because it requires this boat anchor. So this is its power supply, and of course, the thing just plugs directly into the side like that. What monster designed this? So, it needs an external wall wart. I've ranted about these things before. Actually, AVGN did a nice piece on them. So this thing is a demon skull, and I crush it, but I actually need to use it for this video, so I'm gonna hold off on that. So, oh wait, how is this thing going to reach any outlet behind any TV? What? Are they expecting you to pull the TV out of the wall to connect this extremely portable device to it? Kind of seeing why these failed, but let's move on. Oh well. So you can get an HDMI extension cable that has a female connector on one end, plug that into here, and then the other end into your TV, and then just leave this thing on the floor with the power brick connected to your, power. But I don't have one of those, so I'm going to use this janky-ass setup, including, but not limited to, a Mac Mini and a crappy power strip plugged straight into the Chromebit. Oh yeah, and the Elgato so you can actually see the damn thing. Okay, let's get the Elgato started. So one of the TVs I have is extremely stupid, so no matter what I do, it is like cropping the image down to fit the TV, which is really stupid because this thing only outputs 1920 by 1080, and that TV is a 1080p TV. So there doesn't need to be any overscanning or underscanning involved. It should just display the image. So you're not gonna see the exact full, you'll see what I mean. It's just kind of wonky. Plug it into my Elgato. Imagine that's a TV I'm plugging it into, because it basically is for all intents and purposes here. I just plug the power in, and after a little bit, we should get some kind of an image. Hey! All right, so it wants me to enter my password. Sorry, I'm looking down here at my preview monitor over here, because that's where the output from this Chromebit goes. Output from the Chromebit. I'm going crazy. The keyboard's not working. There it goes. So we're at the login screen here because it boots up extra fast because it's actually a quad-core chip in there. But we'll get back to that. Let's log in here. All right. And it takes a few seconds and we're in. It immediately launches Chrome because that's basically the whole OS. It's Chrome plus extensions. So we're gonna close that. So this stick, of course, doesn't have any Ethernet support, except maybe through USB, but I don't know if it has drivers for any NICs. The most basic connectivity is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which we have, and I have a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse connected, which is how you're supposed to use this. It does have a USB port, so you could plug, this into it, but I need this for my recording rig, so I'm not gonna be using that. I'm just gonna be using normal keyboard and Bluetooth mouse. So this is basically a Chromebook on a stick. So you have everything you expect from Chrome OS, except for the fact that it does not, in fact, have a camera attached. You probably could attach a camera, and I really could if I cared, but I don't, so I'm not going to do that. But that would probably work if you did. So we have all the apps from Chrome, as we see here. We go into settings and see what, I guess what we're running, maybe about Chrome OS. So what's weird about this is actually only version 86, and it's a 32-bit OS, so I didn't actually know that. That's quite troubling. But it says 2025, so maybe this has gotten security updates. Anyway, of course this device only has 16 gigs of eMMC flash storage built in, so you're not going to be doing much with that, but I did put some media on here to test it out, and we'll get to that. But yeah, it's also slow. This is not a fast device, and it gets like really hot very quickly. Like it's already like pretty warm, and it's just gonna like burn you when you try to go to unplug it when you're done with it. Like I'm shocked this thing can function the way it is. You can definitely tell it's supposed to be a laptop OS because it has keep display on, turn off display, and sleep, and that's while charging. So that's pretty goofy. But anyway, what else do we have here? Well, we have Chrome. And that, you know, is what you'd expect. You can type Google. That's what you do on PCs in the 21st century. Oh, it was already there. I'm a dumbass. Dumbass.
Dumbass.
That brings me joy. Choose language. Afrikaans.
Dumbass.
That's not Afrikaans. Anyway, so let's try to go to YouTube, see if it can tolerate YouTube. I've created a completely new Google account just for this, because I couldn't actually use the goddamn device without a Google account. Frickin' Google, what are you thinking? I guess most people are gonna have. That's a lot of T's on my screen. I don't know what to think of that. Anyway, let's try to pick something to watch. Oh, actually, I signed in. I signed into this on my main account, just so I wouldn't have to watch ads. Ads are annoying. And you can tell this is slow. How about the griefer video that might not be up on YouTube by the time this video gets out? So let me close the tabs because this thing only has 2 gigs of RAM.
This is our Redux. Hey.
It is our Redux indeed.
Hey.
I was born a rebel.
Welcome to just a random ass video.
This is going at about 720p 60.
I don't want to reset the
and actually,
I want to,
it does seem to be playing kind of smoothly.
So this is a server that I
Of course, all like the rest of the UI is still kind of loading and really sluggish.
I came on here.
But this is VP9, which is about H.265 equivalent. It's a high efficiency codec, takes a lot of power to unpack as it plays. So yeah, this is playing. It's not a great experience. If there was a way that I could turn VP9 off on YouTube and instead use H.264, I would do that, but unfortunately I don't think I can. And if you switch to 1080p, it kind of goes nonsense mode. At least it did when I last tried this.
Saw a message. Actually, I can show you the exact message.
Yeah, that does not work. It does say that it supports 4K and 1440p, but this can't display 4K content, so obviously that'd be kind of useless on this thing, but you can do it. I think if you turn it down to 480p, it still barely works. Let's skip to another point in the video.
Bruh. But yeah, there's really nothing else on here. It's just kind of this. I don't know why the render distance is so short. It's on a 12-core machine.
It's still VP9.
Why is there an end portal over here? What? And what is this? What was this? What? Someone's been taking a dookie.
So yeah, it looks like trash.
Okay, so I guess
actually it looks more like piss. But yeah, so it doesn't look good. It doesn't play well. You have to turn it on pretty far to get it to run YouTube, and that's not really worth it. But what more can you expect from a CPU that's supposed to be in a smartphone and that's running on like a USB stick? This thing is hot. If I had like a meter to show how hot this was, I would use it. I don't know any of the Chrome stuff, so I don't know. But this thing runs hot. Like this can't be good for it. So that was kind of a bust. So what else can we do on here? Well, we can play media that you copy from external media. So I actually have a USB stick here. This is actually a 2 terabyte solid state. So it says solid state drive, but it's really just a USB stick that's 2 terabytes. So I plugged this in and it shows up here. I also have some network shares attached here, but they don't really work very well. It obviously wasn't tested very well. So let's try to copy something off. Maybe hellbound.mp4. So let's copy that to downloads. And that copies. To be honest, I don't think the storage on board this stick. To be honest, I don't think the storage on board this Chromebook. To be honest, I don't think the storage on board this Chromebit is going to sustain any kind of like read or write speeds past like USB 2 speeds. So it wouldn't really make much sense for this to be going USB 3 speeds, even though this is a USB 3 USB stick, and that could be a USB 3 port. You know, I could just disconnect this and look at the freaking port. I didn't think of that actually. I can't believe that. I actually can't tell. I actually can't tell. They look the same. I know this is a USB 2 device. I don't know. Is it USB 2? Is it USB 3? I no longer know, but that copied pretty fast, so maybe it is a USB 3 port. It doesn't say SS on it, but this isn't Wolfenstein, so maybe that's why. Okay, well let's try to play that video that we copied over. So obviously it is playing, but it's not exactly a smooth experience. I'm not really sure why. It just kind of does something stuttery now and then. It's not, I don't think it's failing to play the actual video file, because this is H.264 and only 720p 30, I think. So yeah, this is obviously playing pretty brilliantly, but I think something to do with Chrome OS, or maybe the video part of the SoC doesn't like outputting through HDMI or something, so it doesn't look smooth. But I think it is actually playing correctly. It is playing smoothly. There's just something preventing that smoothness from getting to the Chromebit to the TV here. Knowing my luck, you guys probably can't see what I'm talking about because my recording didn't show it. It's probably some kind of a downstream HDMI issue. Anyway, so that played okay, and that was just 720p. Let's try to play something H.264, but it is instead 4K resolution. 4K 60 to be specific. It quit immediately. Yeah, that's not keeping up. This is amazing. I'm surprised it's trying to play it at all. Much more. So yeah, that was pure shite. So it can't even do 4K H.264. But you probably shouldn't play 4K stuff on this thing anyway, since it can't output 4K. As we see, this is actually limited to, or settings, there it is. So if we go into displays, we can see that we're actually limited to 60 Hertz of 1080p for our display. So even though this TV is actually only 1080p, I did plug it into my other preview monitor here. I have two monitors here, and that's a 1440p, 144 Hertz monitor. So if this could output 4K, it should definitely be able to output 1440p. And the fact that it didn't, to me, means that this can't output anything higher than 1080p video. So that's kind of a shame, but I'm not exactly surprised by that. I'm just disappointed. But you probably shouldn't be doing anything else except for 1080p stuff anyway on this class of hardware. It's just not meant for it. To give you an idea, this is the kind of thing you'd run Minecraft Pi Edition on badly. Okay, maybe not that low class of hardware, but this is definitely not meant to run a desktop operating system, which is technically what we're doing here, even if Chrome OS is a bit crummy. Chrome OS, if you will, for use on Chromebooks. But this can at least play audio and Flax. When you were standing in the rain, I gave you shelter. When I was knocking on your door, you gave me none. What will you do now the bridges have been burned? 'Cause it's too late now, the magic's lost. It's too late now, the spell is broken. It's too late now to count the cost of words that should remain unspoken. Okay. Hey, I didn't say to autoplay. It autoplays? I didn't know that. Okay, well that's Doom music. So I was actually playing a FLAC first, and then it started playing a wave automatically. So it supports WAS and FLACs, which is pretty good. Probably supports most of the main codecs. Obviously supports H.264, H.265. It does support ProRes. It just can't play it very well, because I guess it has no hardware support for it. But Chrome OS has support for it, so it tries to play it, however badly. So it's the middle of the video, but I haven't actually talked about or listed off the specs. I kind of hinted at them, but I never told you like all at once what they are, so let's do that. This thing has 2 gigs of RAM. I think they're DDR3L. I forget what speed, maybe 1600 megahertz. But the CPU isn't really even a CPU. It's actually an SoC, or a system on a chip. That stands for. And what that basically means, it's like the new Apple Silicon architecture, like all the new Macs that are coming out. How are they so efficient? Well, they're doing basically the same thing this is doing, just on a much broader scale. You know, they put mobile phone CPUs in laptops and desktop computers, but they just made them a lot more powerful than the mobile phone variants. That's effectively what they've done here, except this is more of like a mobile phone processor, or like something you'd find in a Raspberry Pi rather than a MacBook. But what's some of the other specs? Well, it has 16 gigs of eMMC storage, and then it's basically just like booting off of an SD card, which I've done before, and it's appropriately slow. This thing is still pretty warm. So that's not going to be very fast, and of course, it isn't. And there's only 16 gigs of it, 8 of which are pretty much taken up by the operating system. So this effectively only has 8 gigs of internal usable storage. But as this is supposed to be some kind of a cloud stick, that kind of makes sense. And it has 2 gigs of soldered on RAM, so you're not going to be able to upgrade it or the storage unless you go all DOS dude on it. DOS dude, please come to my house and upgrade this thing. That would be such a cool video. In the script I actually wrote, that would be culturally enriching content. Can't pass that up, can you? The CS10 also comes with Chrome OS. This is the full-fat version of it instead of the Chrome OS Flex that you see nowadays you can install on anything. No, this is 32-bit Chrome OS. The exact thing you'd find on Chromebooks and Chrome boxes when they made those. This is kind of a spin-off of the Chromebooks and the Chrome boxes to some extent. ASUS, I guess in 2014 and 2015, they were trying to find other markets to sell Chrome OS to. Basically just selling crummy computers that could just be used for YouTube, I guess, or searching the web, just that stuff, or maybe Google Docs, just those things, just web things. Can't run anything locally, at least not from the start, I don't think you could, except for like Chrome extensions. But you can still use those on like normal Chrome that weren't exclusive to Chrome OS. But they kind of work both ways. It was weird. Having extensions be full apps is just a bizarre way to do it. Of course, later on they started calling them apps, or maybe they did from the start. I don't really remember. But yeah, anyway, so ASUS had Chromebooks. They also had Chrome boxes, which are like the desktop thing. And then they had the Chromebit. And the model number of this is the CS10. So the SoC in this Chromebit, it actually has a quad-core CPU in it. And I think a Mali 400 GPU, maybe something a little bit better, I don't really know. But it also has hardware decoding for H.264, so it doesn't need to do that in software. I think it might also have the hardware decoding for VP9, but seeing how badly it ran YouTube, I doubt that. I think it's just decoding that in software, which the fact that this has a quad-core CPU at all is probably what made that even remotely doable. So this device being from 2015, it received its final update quite a while ago. I think as we saw it before, this is Chrome OS 86, which I think is from like 2020 or something, maybe even 2018. And as we saw before, it integrates an HDMI connector that you just shove into the back of your TV. So this seems kind of useless now, and it kind of is. Only useful for playing media over the network, and even then, it doesn't really work well for that. It just kind of freezes up and does some weird stuff. Hey, take a look at this footage. I'm browsing through my NAS, basically, or my network attached storage system. I actually have multiple of those, And I've tried a couple of them. I would go down a couple folders deep and then it would just quit working right. It would just stop listing the files, stop opening the folders, and I wasn't able to copy files or really do anything. It would just take like 10 minutes for the copy to even start, let alone finish. And unless I disconnected the file share that was doing this to it. I'm not sure why that was. I guess because the software is so outdated, and that bug maybe got patched a couple of years later than the software that's on this particular Chromebit. And you know, it probably wasn't tested very well because, you know, who has a Chromebit but also has a high-powered NAS, right? I mean, that's probably not going to be many people. So I kind of only recommend using, you know, local storage to play off of, or maybe copy to the Chromebit. I mean, that's really the only good use for this, is to maybe take a TV or maybe a sound system connected to a TV, plug a Chromebit into it with a USB drive, and just play music. Or maybe play a 720p TV show encoded in H.264. There's plenty of those. And this can even do 1080p H.264 decoding as well with its video player just fine. So that has its uses, and I would have liked to have that. But the thing about the power supply, you know, why does it need a whole ass wall wart? I mean, this thing's only 18 watts, right? I mean, you know, why does this need to be plugged straight into the wall? I don't understand. I mean, it can't get the power from HDMI, because I think HDMI is only 5 volts, and they didn't, you know, want to make this even bigger because this is already comically huge next to like a normal USB stick. This is just insanely huge. So, you know, putting even more crap into this would have kind of been unrealistic. So they couldn't put a whole power supply in here, so they had to make an external one. But why couldn't this use the USB power delivery standard that was introduced probably around the same time? Well, my guess was it just wasn't introduced soon enough to really make a difference for this device. And you would have had to still probably include a wall wart and a USB cable, but that's a hell of a lot better than this, because I can't plug this into like a USB power bank and just use this off of that. That would be actually a pretty cool thing that this could do, just operate off of a power bank from DC power. But unfortunately, it was made at just the wrong time. So what about gaming? Well, I'm not the ultimate hacker man, so I don't really know how to install Linux on this, and I'm not really gonna try. I hate Linux, and I refuse to destroy this device with it. So what other games can I run? Like straight off of the Chrome OS? Well, I could install Minecraft on it, but I'm not paying 20 bucks or even 14 bucks to see what that's like on here, because on a normal Chromebook that's probably twice as powerful as this, it runs like trash.
This is the most recent Dell 2-in-1 Chromebook that meets all requirements to run Minecraft as listed on their website. What the fuck were they thinking shoving Minecraft onto a Chromebook? If you want to play Minecraft for Android on a Chromebook, you gotta cough up 20 bucks. But don't worry, if you already own Minecraft for Android, it'll only cost you $13 to upgrade. What the fuck? This thing barely boots. Look at this shit. It just won't load the fuck menu. If you can't make a good game, then don't make it at all. This is fucking disgusting. This pisses me off. Never turn the render distance up on a Chromebook.
To quote Bearman3600, it is the worst way to play Minecraft. So I'm not gonna pay that much money, or any money really, to put Minecraft on this thing. I'm just not gonna do that. There's no point. I mean, is there a point to any of this? No. But I have to stop myself eventually. And on that note, let's talk about the future. The future that this thing never got to see. This Chromebit CS10 came out from ASUS in 2015. They made no other models of this Chromebit or any other Chromebits. This one is completely singular, and that's weird. Just this Chromebit CS10 made it out. And that's kind of sad as well, because imagine what they could do with the modern technology just a couple of years down the line. In 2015, this was really hard to do, but in 2020 with the M1 coming out and stuff, the Apple Silicon stuff, the rise of ARM things, this is ARM, that this could have been part of that. And you could do a lot more with 18 watts of SoC power nowadays than you could even do with 30 watts in 2015. And to put that into perspective, my iPhone charges from a 30-watt power brick. So I think this is just a missed opportunity that happened just a few years too early before its time. This would have been quite loved and way more useful if it had come out just 6 years after it had. But since that didn't happen, we'll never know. This has been Arrowed Redux, and I'll see you all in the next live stream, short, or video, whatever that may be. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'm gonna have some fun with my Chromebit. Actually, that's probably not true. I'm probably just gonna put it in a drawer and leave it to like die or something. I don't even know. It's just, this is the end. Just go. Just go. I evacuated this entire section of the house to make this video. So if you feel bad for my parents, please subscribe. It really helps out. Thank you. I probably look like a ghost right now.